Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you.
It's Indy's first birthday, a milestone her parents weren't sure she'd reach. She was born 9 weeks early by emergency caesarean after Laura suffered severe bleeds throughout her pregnancy.
I've been very emotional. I think with it coming up to a year, it was a very scary time. I've never sort of really been one to dwell on it, and I'm very grateful. But I think coming up to the year milestone, I have been a little bit tearful about it and how serious my condition was. And I mean, what a rough start Indy had, you know, having to be resuscitated and ventilated.
Indy was looked after at the neonatal intensive care unit at the Royal Victoria Infirmary. Every year, up to 1,000 of the most critically ill babies from all over the region are treated here. Indy was allowed home after 5 weeks, but like many premature babies, her first year hasn't all been plain sailing.
We've been lucky with Indy, but the real thing's been our feeding and our weight gain, which has been slow. And when she has become poorly with anything that maybe might be trivial to somebody else, it has sort of knocked her a bit, and she's had to sometimes go into hospital to be fed by them.
Yeah, she's getting there now. She seems really tough now, doesn't she? And
yeah.
She's pretty much nearly walking around at the minute and stuff like that. And her favourite word's Dada, so that's good, isn't it?
60,000 babies are born prematurely in the UK every year. Even amongst the tiniest babies, those born at 23 weeks, the chance of survival is now 60%. But they still face critical illnesses that doctors know little about.
If you are a non-survivor, it's not just because you were born early, because good numbers of babies born at that point are capable of survival and good quality survival. So something happens to those babies, something goes wrong, they develop a problem.
Twins, Ivy and Willow, were born 14 weeks early, just 26 weeks into the pregnancy. At a few days old, Willow developed the bowel infection, necrotising enterocolitis, known as NEC. It kills 250 babies every year, as many children as die from childhood cancer, but funding and research into the disease is far behind. Willow underwent surgery and appeared to recover, but when she was nearly 3 months old, infection returned and Willow passed away.
It is a real problem that those babies are almost invisible to the world. You know, most people don't know neonatal units exist, they don't understand what we're doing inside them. One of the big problems for NEC is that it is so specific to preterm babies because older children don't get it. We can't learn about it in older children and then bring that learning back to our babies. So it's been a very difficult thing for us to learn about.
But now the RVI and Newcastle University have developed a research technique which could solve some of the mysteries surrounding NEC. Premature baby stem cells are being used to grow tiny mini guts, and in unique conditions, the effects of bacteria are being tested.
That's probably the most exciting part of all of this for me now, is that we can literally look down the microscope lens and see intestines growing in the lab. The baby's own cells need oxygen, whereas bacteria will die in the presence of this oxygen. So we've now developed a system here that allows us to do this simultaneous co-culture, where we can keep the bacteria alive, the baby's own intestinal cells alive. It allows us to therefore unpick in a very systematic way how these things are causing the infants to have disease.
At 1 year old, Willow's twin Ivy is back in hospital for further surgery. A butterfly on her cot shows that she had a twin who died.
We very much hope that we are learning things that will change practice, and ideally that will lead to us being able to prevent those diseases occurring. And if we can prevent the disease, we can prevent babies dying, we can prevent the long-term complications that arise if you have that disease but recover from it.
Premature babies continue to be assessed long after they've left hospital as they develop and grow. Maxwell and Miles have also just turned 1. They were born 3 months early and each had to be transferred to the RVI from Teesside for surgery.
I would say we still see them as being 3 months less because they're still small for their age. They still weigh less than they would for a normal 1 year old, and they're probably not doing some of the things that a 1 year old would be. So they're not walking, they're not pulling themselves up onto furniture, they've just started crawling, but they're getting there. They're trying to do all these things, they're just a little bit behind.
Whether a premature baby will have any lasting effects may not be known until they reach school, but the care they receive in the first days to keep them free from infection gives them the best chance to grow happily and healthily to reach these milestones.
back when we were in special care, it just didn't even seem like something to think about. It was that far off, and like they had that much to go through, but we got there. It was amazing.
The research being carried out at the RVI aims to give even more babies this chance. Julia Barthram, ITV News.